All right, there, Latin 3. Now we're on to 56, big D. Or no, big B. I apologize. So, Antony versus Octavian. You knew it couldn't last. You hate to see it. So, here we go. At that time, Marcus Agrippa. Now, he's like the best friend of Octavian. He ends up marrying Octavian's sister after a long period of time where after Antony is dead. Spoiler alert: Antony dies. So by this time, or at this time, Marcus Agrippa managed the affairs in Aquitania very effectively. Aquitania is now what we know as southern Spain. No, northern Spain. Sorry, or southern France. Northern Spain, southern France. One of the two. It's on the map. Lucius Vendidius Bassus defeated the Parthians, who were breaking into Syria. He defeated them in 3 battles. Okay, Bassus, killed Pacorus, who is the son of King Orodes, on the same day which once upon a time Orodes, the Persian king, had killed Crassus, the guy from the first triumvirate, through his general, his being Orodes' general, Surena. So it's just kind of a nice little coincidence that on the same day of the calendar that Crassus had been killed, Bassus now has killed Pacorus, the king's son. Bassus was the first to celebrate a most justified triumph over the Parthians in Rome. A triumph is a parade, and it's a very important thing. Let's see. Antony, who held Asia and the East, after divorcing the sister of Caesar Augustus Octavian, took up as his wife Cleopatra, the queen of Egypt. Now, this is going to lead to a huge problem because they're basically saying that Antony prefers a queen to rule him instead of to be married to a good Roman woman. He's gone native, he's gone foreign, etc., etc. And that's what turns the people previously who had loved Antony, turns them against him. Could you imagine like a leader betraying his own country to another country and then his supporters going, no, that's not okay? Like imagine that. Antony himself also fought against the Parthians. He defeated them in the first battles. However, while he was returning, he suffered from, and he meaning like his armies, suffered from hunger and disease. And when the Parthians pursued him as he was fleeing, he himself departed as the defeated one. So he'd beaten them in battles, but then he started to pull back, and while he did, famine and plague, because it turns out he's good at fighting, it doesn't mean he's good at administering or leading. And now the Parthians are coming after him. That's Antony, also stirred up a huge civil war. So if you're keeping track at home, Antony's have stirred up 2 civil wars on their own. Caesar has stirred up another civil war on his own. And previous to that, you had, what are their names? I'm blanking on their names. It's in the Marius and Sulla. Sorry, Marius and Sulla started a civil war right around the time that Caesar was a young man. So we're talking 60 years of Rome that has not been untouched by civil war. To the Romans living at this time, civil war probably seemed natural and normal. Kind of like how you guys feel about school shootings. It's awful. Antony, stirred up a huge civil war since his wife, Cleopatra, the queen of Egypt, had forced him to. I see what's happening there. He's really not Roman because no woman's going to force a Roman to. While she, with a womanly greed, wished to rule even in the city of Rome. He, Antony, was defeated by Augustus, who's now just being called Augustus, by the way. Same guy as Caesar Octavian, but now we're calling him Augustus. In a famous and well-known naval battle at Actium, which is a spot in Epirus, from which he, Antony, fled into Egypt And once he had given up all hope of his situation, and since everybody was going over to Caesar anyway, Caesar being Augustus, he killed himself. And there's some discussion as to when he killed himself, if he said something to the effect of like, I don't even get to die a Roman general. And he really regretted that. But, that's, nobody was there for it. Maybe Cleopatra was there for it. Cleopatra, now, just so you know, this is many years later. This is not when it happened. Or maybe like a year later. She allowed an asp to reach her and was extinguished by its poison. Egypt was annexed by Octavian Augustus to the Roman Empire, and Gaius Cornelius Gallus was put in charge of it. Egypt had him as its first Roman governor. So that's the end of Big B. So go ahead and do all the exercises that I've told you to do in the previous video. You don't need to do 56 little a. You already know those things. I mean, if you want the practice, do it. But I'm really looking at 56 little b. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna hit the button now.